Hey everybody, welcome back to Hacking the Headlines. Today we're going to be talking about something that I find to be really interesting, and that is, what are the stars in the sky? Because just like with so many other things, we have been lied to about this subject. Now, for thousands of years, humans have gazed into the night sky with both amazement and bewilderment, wondering what are those beautiful and innumerable twinkling lights that we now call stars. And then modern science has come along, or falsely so called science, and they have provided us all with an answer to that age old question. And they have tried to convince all of us that the stars are nothing more than these giant luminous balls of gas, which are located billions or even trillions of miles away from Earth. Yet when you dig beneath the surface, even just a little bit, you discover that we have been lied to once again about the nature of our reality. And the twinkling lights in our sky are not billions of miles away, but they're actually something you can zoom in on with just a moderately powered telescope or camera. And that is exactly what many people have done. And they have captured amazing up close footage of these dancing lights in the sky. And this is something that would be impossible if they were actually millions or billions or trillions of miles away from us. So here is some footage so you can see it for yourself. And I will be linking all of the source material in the description box below. But this is also something that you can easily test for yourself by studying the night sky with the help of a telescope or a camera, such as the Nikon P900, which is what many of these clips were recorded with. Now, the first thing to note is that they are not static balls of gas, but they actually change their shape, their color, and even their position in the night sky. And these are all clips captured by amateur photographers, and they are much different than what we are given by NASA and all of their CGI images of stars. So it really is amazing to watch them and how they move and shift in the sky, and they produce these brilliant flashes of different colors and shapes. I mean, they almost seem to be alive. And not only that, it appears as if we are looking at them through a filter of water, as if they are dancing in an ocean in the sky. So what are they really? If they aren't these giant balls of gas located thousands of light years away from us, then what are they? Well, the truth is, nobody really knows. But what we do know for sure is that we have been lied to by government agencies such as NASA and also by our educational system, which sold us all short when they tried to convince us that there is nothing special about these objects in the sky and they are simply a gas-filled fusion ball of energy and are all way too far away for us to study up close. When the reality is, it's the exact opposite of that. They are much closer than we have been told, and this is something that this footage alone proves, because we could not zoom in on them. If they were truly trillions of miles away from us, we could not capture this type of footage. So obviously there is something much more going on here than just a gas-filled ball in the sky. But you might be asking, why would they lie to us? Why would they lie to us about the stars? I mean, what are they trying to hide? And the answer, as usual, always comes back to God. They are trying to hide God and the truth about His creation from us. And to be completely honest, it is ignorant and naive to believe anything that NASA tells us, because they have been caught lying time after time after time. And even the name itself, NASA, literally means to deceive. Yes, you heard that right. NASA in Hebrew means to deceive. So, some of you out there might try to tell yourself that's just a coincidence, but I'm not that gullible. When someone tells me they are lying to me, I'm going to believe them. But this is not a video to document every single lie NASA has ever told. There are plenty of videos out there. If anybody doubts my claim on that, they are nothing but liars and deceivers, as their name tells us they are. But these are some of the CGI images that we have been given to by NASA, and this is what they claim stars really look like. I mean, it's much different than what countless amateur astronomers have been able to capture on their cameras and telescopes. I mean, when you compare the images, it's a joke. The one is nothing but an artist's creation, and the other is real-time footage of what stars in the sky really look like. So the real images and footage of stars are much more powerful and awe-inspiring than NASA's crappy CGI. And this is just one more way that they have convinced everyone we are living in an ever-expanding universe on a tiny little blue ball in the boondocks of the universe, when really we are the pinnacle of God's creation, and the earth, the moon, the sun, the stars, they were all made by Him and for Him. These things were not made by a big bang that just magically created everything out of nothing. And they're not that far away. You can zoom in on them with your camera and see this amazing dancing light that changes colors, changes shapes. I mean, like I said, I don't know what they are, but they're obviously not what NASA tells us, and they're not what the school system tells us. And I don't think we will ever have a complete answer to what the stars really are, but we can get a good idea of what they are by simply reading the Word of God, which is always faithful and true. So let's take a look at some scriptures that talk about what the stars really are and what they're there for. Now, there are many scriptures that talk about the stars and what they are and why they're there. So I'm not going to go over all of them, but I just chose a few that I find to be most relevant and interesting, and kind of gives us a better idea of what the stars might be. And in many instances, they are compared to angels, or they are spoken of as if they are angels. Now, you could argue that the angels, or the stars rather, are simply symbolic of angels, but I think in many verses it paints a pretty clear picture that the stars are actually angels themselves. So what we could be looking at when we're looking through our telescope and camera at those dancing colorful lights are actually angels, are real life angels. Now, this is talking about the fallen angels, or the fallen stars, who chose to follow Lucifer rather than God. And this is from Revelation 9:1, talking about the end days. And it says, "The fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven to the earth, and to him was given the key of the bottomless pit." So here we have a star that falls from heaven, and this star is given the key to the bottomless pit. So that's Revelation 9:1. And then just a couple chapters later in Revelation 12:4, it says, "And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven and did cast them to the earth." Now, of course, this is talking about Satan and how he drew a third of the stars onto earth with him. These would be the fallen angels, the demonic forces that we see working all day, every day in our world today. So here again, we have the stars being compared to angels, or being talked about as if the stars are the angels, and that a third of them, or 33% of them, were actually cast out onto the earth. Then also in Genesis 1:16 through 17, it explains how God made the stars. And then in the very next verse, it explains how God set them in the firmament of the heaven in order to give light upon the earth. So that also gives us an idea of what the stars are there for, in order to give light upon the earth during the nighttime. And then also in Psalm 19:1, it explains that the heavens declare the glory of God, and that the firmament showeth his handiwork. And the firmament is a whole other topic to discuss here, so I'm not going to get too deep into that, at least in this video. But I do find it extremely odd that Wernher von Braun, who was a NASA scientist, one of the most revered rocket scientists, one of the first rocket scientists at NASA, and on his tombstone, it just so happens to quote the verse from Psalm 19:1, that the heavens declare the glory of God and that the firmament showeth his handiwork. And this is a man who supposedly did not believe in the firmament, because if he did, he wouldn't be building so-called rockets in order to shoot into outer space, because the firmament would stop someone from doing that. You cannot get through the firmament. It's described in the Bible as molten looking glass, something that is hard, kind of like a dome above us. So pretty interesting that Werner von Braun, one of the very first so-called rocket scientists at NASA, just so happened to decide to put this Bible verse out of the thousands upon thousands of Bible verses he could have chosen to put on his tombstone. He puts one that references very clearly the firmament and how it showeth his handiwork. So there's that. I mean, like I said, I don't know what the stars really are. I think the Bible gives us a pretty good picture of what they might be and why they were there and how they are set in the sky in order to declare his handiwork. And that's enough for me. But I wanted to make this video, in hopes that people might start looking up at the sky again in amazement and bewilderment like we used to do, because science tries to explain it away in these very dry terms and, oh, they're just nothing but big balls of gas, nothing to see here. We're in an ever-expanding universe that's going to implode on itself one day or explode on itself, and you don't have to worry about that stuff. And, they're just so far away, we'll never know what they really are. Just believe our CGI images and be content with that. But in reality, there's so much more than that. When you get up close footage of them from just a moderately powerful camera or telescope, you can see how much glory there is in them and how wonderful they really are. So I hope this video helps to inspire people to look up to the sky once again and wonder and amazement at what these dancing lights in the sky really are. So there's the video for today, guys. I'm excited to hear your thoughts on it in the comment section below, and thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel if you aren't already, and don't forget to hit that like button on your way out. I'll be making another video very soon, so stay tuned for that. But until next time, guys, take care out there, and God bless everybody.